So I was trying to explain to my mom where I'm coming from, where how I still think that Black lives, do matter, but not in the sense that I'm trying to get involved with anything political or any type of political movement like Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter and etc. And I was trying to explain to my mom that I almost would like to support Juneteenth in a way, even if I'm not doing it here in town with the actual people who are pretty much fucking me over. I still kind of would like to, support Juneteenth. The only problem I have with supporting Juneteenth right now, even on my own, because there's still a lot of posts. There's still a lot of posts and things you could share about Juneteenth and stuff like that, right? And there's still a lot of things you could do about getting the word out there about Juneteenth and all the celebrations. But my thing about Juneteenth is there's still like a very big leftist kind of, liberal sense about how that came about, and I would like to support the fact that it seems like a good thing, support the fact that that's the day that the slaves became free and the Black Americans became free, and and stuff like that, which is tomorrow. Juneteenth is tomorrow, but. It's like I can't take the politics out of it. The thing is, I can't take the politics out of Juneteenth because it came from such a leftist, radical view that I can't take the politics of the leftist movement out of it, so I can't feel like I can celebrate it, It's got to be like completely out of politics, guys. And I mean, I hate to tell people that, but I want the politics out of art. I'm trying not to, I mean, my art might not get as political anymore because sometimes some of my art has gotten a little political, but I'm trying to maybe not do as much more political art more than just make, art. But some artists are very political and some artists take a very political stance, except politics for me is really fucking up my mental health and etc. And it's also, it doesn't matter if it's the far left or the far right. I mean, I'm definitely not joining the far right. Everybody thinks like, oh, you're going to join the far right because you're not supporting Black Lives Matter and etc. But Black Lives Matter, just like Juneteenth, came from a leftist view that was kind of brought into law from a leftist view of politics that I'd rather not try to get myself involved in. So it brings a big problem of me trying to celebrate Juneteenth. I mean, I would like to be able to celebrate in a way that celebrate the Black Americans in a way. I would like to do that. Don't get me wrong, but it's the politics that we put in everything that to get to these places that we've already we've gotten to that really kind of makes it really ruins it for me as somebody who wants to just try to get themselves out of all the political stuff completely. I mean, as I said before, I want to support the Black community. I want to support Black lives, yes, but I'm not going to put myself to Black Lives Matter because of the leftist agenda. So I'm neither left nor right. I'm kind of independent. I'm not I'm nor left nor right. But I'm at that point where it's like I would like to, I like the fact that the slaves became free and stuff like that, and we can celebrate the fact that on this on tomorrow's day, several something years ago, the slaves became American citizens and they became actually free. Don't get me wrong. I don't have all the history in my head right now, and I'm not gonna like bust my stones trying to figure it all out and talk about it. But, regardless, the slaves became free as of tomorrow, as of several years ago, but celebrated as of tomorrow. So, or as the official day as of tomorrow. So, I wanted to just, talk about the fact that there's such a leftist view to, Black Lives Matter, and there's such a leftist view to, to Juneteenth, that I can't take myself out of the politics of that. And because I can't do that, it brings up a huge problem for me that really kind of brings some issues. So, it's not that I don't want to support the Black community. I want to do it kind of without a lot of this heavy, leftist politics. I mean, I don't even want to support the right. I don't want to support the right either. But I'm definitely not gonna sit here with the other extreme either and say I'm agreeing with a lot of some of the other extreme, because some of the other extreme is also, I mean, even though it might have good agendas and good causes towards people's rights and views, I mean, it still kind of clashes with people's rights and views as an American citizen, especially what was written in the Constitution of what we were supposed to have for our rights as American citizens. But then again, people will say that the Constitution didn't include everybody, blah, 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 and that's why we celebrate Juneteenth, and that's exactly, so, especially for the black community, they celebrate Juneteenth because the Constitution, as they say, did not include everybody, as free citizens until Juneteenth, such and such, which is why people celebrate tomorrow. But for me, it's like everything's so leftist and so out of control that I'm just done. I'm done with the politics. I actually started, I found some stuff for, Michelle Cook and Johanna Hayes. I threw it in the garbage. I was going through my papers and my mail and stuff. I threw it in the garbage because, anything I get from a political source these days, I'm just going to throw it into the garbage because I just, I don't want to, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't even know what I'm going to do this November because I don't want to vote, Republican because I don't always want to agree with the strictness of Republicans, but I also don't want to vote Democrat either because I don't agree with some of the way things were going with Democrats. I like the fact, everybody likes the fact that they're, especially people who are, struggling and stuff, like the fact that they're getting, support, financial things to support them and stuff like that. Yes, for some of us who are disabled and stuff who need, the extra support to get through the pandemic because of inflation and etc. Yes, I kind of do like that in a way, yes, but at the same time, there's a lot of things I don't like about how people choose to take the leftist views, especially in their own mind, in their own situations, and kind of twist that and kind of how they treat other people or how other people get treated because of it, And I'm referring to the fact that I can't really get myself involved with any Black Lives Matter group without there being some type of asshole or some type of issue with some type of person that wants to be an asshole to really challenge me and etc. But for me trying to join and take part of the group and etc. One thing that really gets challenged too, which is my biggest gripe with Black Lives Matter, other than being really leftist, is the fact that my right to love. A lot of black community people for Black Lives Matter do not believe in interracial relationships. They say they do, but it's like, if a white person talks about it, it's automatically gross. A black person has to talk about an interracial relationship, otherwise it's not just or etc. But white people should have a right to talk about interracial relationships and who they want to love just as much as the black community. Although I get kind of really put off by black love because I keep hearing it, and I've heard it, months ago. I kept hearing it months ago again and again from somebody I really wanted to have a heart towards and really wanted to open my heart towards, to have some type of relationship with them in my life. Didn't mean it was going to be a romantic relationship, but I wanted some type of relationship with them in my life. They told me they simply just don't have the time, and so simply don't have the time for me, and I'm just not worth the time and the effort. So they have to go and focus on their own career and their own path, right? And meanwhile, some of their, while they're doing that, some of the other friends who I've tried to, friend through, different, organizations like Hartford and stuff like that have disrespected me. Like as I told my mom today, the Hartford's cultural group disrespected me. And then there's people here in Torrington that have disrespected me. Granted, we were all artists, we were all friends, or most of us were all friends, except, then between all these political things, and all these things with political things, and all these differences of belief and stuff, and then all these other differences and stuff that happened over quarantine, or before quarantine, or even happened after quarantine, that made things kind of fall apart, and make people kind of have differences of opinion, and wanting to go this way and that way, and etc. Things are just falling apart, and things are just not looking too good, I'm still an artist. I'm still keeping my head above water. I'm still gonna, try to branch out and connect with different artists and poets and writers and stuff, because as a friend put it today, that was a writer, that as a writer and an artist, you want to surround yourself with artists and writers and poets and people like that, because those are the people who you want in your circle to inspire you and help you grow and prosper, because, that's the circle you want to have, especially as an artist, and that's what I'm trying to keep, although I've lost a good portion of my circle because of, relationship issues with that person I really wanted to, include in my life and have a relationship with, and then some other issues with Black Lives Matter, and then some other issues with some other socialization things, like Daquana's, where Daquana just asked me not to come back because I simply, I couldn't, I had a problem working for her, and she told me not to come back to her store, so, and it just so happens that, Daquana's is where they're celebrating, Black Lives Matter, or not Black Lives Matter, but, Juneteenth, this, Juneteenth tomorrow, they're celebrating it at Daquana's, or Daquana's is taking a part of celebrating, the Juneteenth holiday and stuff with them, and, for me personally, I am not 100% happy with the way things are going with the Black community. I mean, obviously I've had my issues the first time, and the first time might have been a little bit more my fault of why I didn't get involved, but then again, some people are saying I was very lucky not to get involved, because some people have wanted confrontation, a couple times I've even tried to get in, no matter what cultural group I try to get involved with, whether it's, Torrington or Hartford, I've had confrontation trying to get involved with these cultural groups and stuff, and trying to get involved with showing my support for Black Lives Matter, which I had for almost 7 to 10 years. I've had the support of for wanting to support Black lives and etc. But now when it comes to the actual groups, and some people in the actual groups, they want to challenge that, or say I'm not well educated enough, or etc., and then kind of really put me down for it and make me feel like an asshole. Of course, I'm a white person, so white people have to get treated a certain way because the Black community should matter, and there was a whole thing about privilege and how the white community always has had the advancement because, obviously, there were times in history and throughout history that, the white community kind of had damaged, different, chances for the Black community to have certain privileges and have certain, advances and stuff like that. As my mom was reminding me, is that she kind of heard at church or somewhere, she heard about, this city or something, or this town that ended up, having a lot of people, a lot of high class, Black African American people, like that were like lawyers and bankers and stuff, and then, the white community came in and they kind of, terrorized the town and destroyed the town and stuff like that. So, it's like, history has a way of happening, and it has happened. But if we can't learn from our history and move on and try to make a better history for ourselves and our grandchildren and our children, then it's no point. It's like, but sometimes we feel like we, especially with Black Lives Matter, we hold on to a lot. They're holding on to a lot of history that from their ancestry and stuff like that, of stuff that's happened that. People are saying that, they had to suffer for and stuff like that, so we have to be held accountable or something like that, or we have to be at accountability because, the Black lives should matter and stuff like that, and they've always been at a disadvantage, but, at the same time, not every white person in America is going to be at an advantage, I've had to work, it took me almost 7 to 10 years to get far at some point, and then, I lost it, probably within, like a year or two, when I first started. I kept going. I don't know why I kept going. My heart was broken. I was hurt and stuff, but I kept going to be an artist and etc. Although I probably would have quit because I had I had over 200 paintings in here at one point when the whole Miss Joseph Arthur misunderstanding thing had happened. I had over 200 paintings in here at one point, and I destroyed them all. I had enough paintings in here big enough to build a bonfire. Once I took a knife or a hammer or whatever I took to them, I had I remember a couple people coming to visit me and kind of wondering why is there a big pile of artwork in the middle of your house and stuff. I know my counselor at the time, who I worked with for almost 15 years before he retired, kind of took me out to lunch and kind of was like, wanting to talk to me and stuff, and I was so fucking paranoid and I don't even want to tell you what I was feeling, but I was pretty much through the roof that I But, regardless of the factor, shit happens. Shit happens, and I know that. I mean, I almost had privileges in life. I've almost had privileges in life. Certain people don't think I'm worthy of those privileges, or certain people don't think I deserve those privileges. I know that in certain communities, in like Enfield and stuff, that there's some people, there's some people in the black community in Enfield and stuff that really do not really care for me. And some of them were ex counselors. When I grew up, kind of, in the system and stuff like that. And there were some ex counselors that didn't care for me because I had a couple of black ex counselors that I've had some issues with. I mean, I wasn't the most perfect kid in the world. I mean, I've had a lot of issues because obviously I didn't want to be, like told that I didn't have certain freedoms and certain rights to be able to do things, or certain things. I wasn't able to do the things I wanted to do. And I was kind of like, I obviously was forced to kind of do them because that was like the program's rules, and that's what you had to do for the program. But, there were times where there were certain staff members and individuals that I would clash with, and some of them were black that, we've had our differences. Some of them were black, and I've clashed with a little bit, but over time, I think I tried to learn from my mistakes. I've tried to, work on trying to heal my past and my mistakes and the things that I had gone through and stuff like that. But some people want to hold grudges, especially because some of those staff members and things kind of had to go to court with my family and stuff, and they actually had been taken to court, and they actually had to go to jail for such and such in time. They were told they couldn't hold a state job for however many years because they actually hit me in the face and actually had a black eye. And yes, it was a black guy that did that. So, I've had my traumas with the black community, yes, but it doesn't mean I don't want to, like, branch out and connect with the black community or be connected towards the black community. I've had different traumas with the black community. I think in some cases it makes it kind of difficult, but it's not making me want to give up on the fact that I can actually have a decent relationship with somebody in the black community. The problem is it's too far left and it's too far right. It's too far left and it's too far right. And I wish we could take the leftist stuff out of politics, out of Juneteenth, out of Black Lives Matter, and just make it like, black people's lives matter. No more leftist views and no more leftist agendas, but it came from a leftist view because they say the far right is more, black people's lives don't matter, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, So now we are with two extremes, and right now everybody thinks that the extreme that's supposedly supposed to benefit everybody with like disabilities and gay rights and racial issues and stuff like that is supposedly the way to go, but I think it's some of it is very controversial and stuff like that, and I think some of it might have some other underlying serious, but serious, I don't say potential, but serious, serious motives, like have other serious motives and things that, we're not aware of, So, I don't really trust the liberal sense. I mean, I wanted to trust the liberal sense. I mean, I'm a disabled person, and I know in some cases, the Democrats are supposed to be for, the disabled people and stuff like that. Lately, this last year and a half, though, I haven't really been feeling like, Biden and, our current administration has been doing a really good job compared to how they first were doing when Trump was in office, and they wanted to get Trump out of office and etc. Now that they have the White House, I think they're really kind of fucking up, but, it is what it is, it is what it is, but, For the most part, I wanted to say, just like, how do we take the politics out of art? How do we take the politics out of art? How do we take the politics out of supporting somebody from a different culture or different background or race? How do we take the politics out of it and just try to say, I want to support you and I want to be there for you, or I want to make art and I want to create and I want to be a creator, but take the, politics out of everything? Because I think politics has just become a trigger. It wasn't a trigger at first, but it's become a trigger, It's become a trigger, and I think there's been a lot of changes within the atmosphere and within different people and within me dealing with different people that kind of changed my heart and kind of changed my situation to make me kind of realize that circumstances have changed, and politics is not as positive for me sometimes, or a good portion of the time as it once was. I don't even watch my politics anymore. I mean, I've been debating on what to do with my Black Lives Matter books, because I still have a lot of anti-racism books. I still have books by Joyanne Reed. I still have books by Reverend Al Sharpton. I didn't get rid of any of those. I did get rid of some of my, my Obama books and some of my Michelle Obama books, but I still have a couple of those too. I have so much books and so much art and stuff in here. It's like I gotta downsize a little bit in order to keep it all in here and to keep it neat. I have to, I do eventually have to get rid of some stuff or try to make more room, which is what I've been trying to work on, but I haven't had the full money to do what I need to do yet, and I might not until at least August if I get to do what I need to do with that. So at the point I'm just doing what I gotta do. I don't know. I don't know. I've been to myself all day, and I'm thinking to myself about, Black Lives Matter and politics and all this political shit, and I'm just like shaking my head. I'm shaking my head that Juneteenth is tomorrow. I'm shaking my head of how I'm being treated by people who I was once, thinking highly of, and I once really wanted to help out and be there for. Granted it went wrong, and in their eyes, they probably feel like they want to treat me like that because, who gives a fuck about Carl? You can't honor me or, honor our agreements and stuff like that. We can fuck you over, so. But there's a big controversy, and there's a bunch of people. I mean, whether it's like, personal issues with me or other people from my mental health program who have had personal issues with me, trying to kind of manipulate the situation and other individuals to kind of map out or twist the situation to their advantage and to kind of discredit me or fuck me over, etc. Which I know is happening. We don't have to lie about it. I know people are talking about me, but talking about me back and forth through their Facebooks about, oh, what's going on with Carl, what's going on with this. I know people are fucking talking about me. We don't even have to like lie about it. Everybody's probably wondering what the fuck's going on with Carl. But Carl's serious about no politics and no leftist agenda, no rightist agenda, no politics whatsoever, and if we can't take the politics out of some art and some of this stuff when it comes to supporting of somebody of a different background and race, then I can't support certain things or certain people's dealings and stuff like that. But of course it's everywhere, it's everywhere. The far leftist wants to overpower people with the far leftist agenda because they know that there's a far right agenda somewhere that obviously wants to do some damage and do some other things that are pretty bad, and so the far left wants to try to take everything over and try to take control so the far right doesn't get away with it. And it's just like, they're two extremes. They're both two extremes. There's one extreme that's really supposedly racist. I mean, I know a couple of Republican people, my mom being one of them, that are not necessarily a bad people. So I can't necessarily say, Republicans are just necessarily bad people, because I know a couple people who have been Republican that are not. But I will say that, this is going way too far with politics, and I can't stress that enough. And I can't stress how much I cannot be a part of these political agendas and these movements and in these celebrations and stuff that I really just I can't handle it. I can't do it. Yeah, yes, a black person's life should matter. Yes, yes, I mean, not everybody's going to believe in Black Lives Matter. Some people are going to want to believe in that, maybe not the movement or what's going on with the movement more. Some people might want to just worry about the rights as a citizen or the rights as a human being, and etc. Compared to compared to the actual, all this controversial stuff about the movement and all the stuff they should be doing in the movement and etc. I know there's a couple people that wanted to just focus on their rights. I mean, I talked to a couple people so far now that have said, they don't support, but they're not big on the actual movement of Black Lives Matter, but they are kind of more concerned about, black rights and, the rights as a black citizen and stuff like that. So, um, I mean, it depends where everyone comes from, but all hope is not lost. I'll find somebody. Maybe I'll end up with a white woman. Maybe I'll end up with a white woman or a woman that's going to be white. Because all this Black Lives Matter stuff and all this stuff about black and race and stuff really kind of has this really bad vibe to it that kind of sometimes even gives me a really bad taste in my mouth or something. It just rubs me the wrong way, So, but anyways, I just wanted to say that I'm gonna go. Get offline because my phone's at 15%. But can we take the it's like religion, So like I hear a big thing when I go to church. It's like the church and state is separate, The state, the church says something like, there's a big separation between church and state, How people say there's a big separation between church and state. I wish there was kind of a big separation between politics and certain other things, too, so that way people who obviously still kind of believe differently and stuff, but maybe still want to partake in and then things like, like the arts and stuff, and, and supporting a black person's life and stuff, doesn't have to feel like they're getting political views crammed down their throat that they don't necessarily agree with, So, well, this is America, and America right now is kind of like, going all kinds of crazy. We're all going kinds of crazy. We're all going through crazier times, Food shortages, people like having money issues with inflation, gas prices going up. We're all going through kinds of crazy shit. So, it's not that I haven't seen it, it's not that I haven't heard it, but, I'm trying to stay away from most of it, unless there's something really big that happens, and I'm going to have to turn on the news, but even the news is not always reliable, so anyways, I'm getting offline. Peace.